Okay, as promised, I'm right back. We've reset the clock. We've got 8 minutes now. Um, and I know that was kind of hard to just stop right in the middle of that whole thing, but yeah, so we really feel like God placed these kittens in our life to help the healing process because, Carrie got to be a mama and came to realize that she really does have a motherly instinct. I think that's always been kind of something that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's always something you kind of struggled with, whether you had it or didn't have it, because you didn't like baby dolls. It was Barbie or nothing. For the most part, kids get on your nerves. I don't know if that's mellowed out, if you've gotten less like that, but whereas me, I'm a kid. Hell, she married a big kid.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are times where kids get on my nerves. I think that's just being a grown-up. But no, when we had those 3 kittens, and we were responsible for their survival. It just came down to that. And Carrie, man, she stepped up to the plate, took them to work with her. And you got to realize this is, again, I said it was October, so it's a cold time of year. She's taking care of these guys. Unfortunately, Charlie got sick. Actually, Teddy Bear got sick first, and then Charlie got sick. And the thing is, they look so much alike as kids. As kittens, we didn't even realize that it was Charlie that had gotten sick. We thought Teddy Bear just was having a relapse or a cold. Didn't realize it was a different kitten for a minute. And unfortunately, Charlie didn't make it. Great, we have a great vet though. If you're in Dallas, Georgia, or if you're near Dallas, Georgia, I highly, highly, highly recommend Dr. Judy and Son. They are great veterinarians. Great veterinarians. The son, the father's cool, but he's more about the animals than he is people. Let's be honest about that. He really cares about the animals. But the son is good with both. And that was just a great experience. Considering what it was. I mean, he was willing to watch Charlie while we were at work. Because he pretty much had, we kind of knew that Charlie probably wasn't going to pull through. But he was compassionate, and he said, this happens with the kid. This happens when they're little. The survival rate for kids is actually low, which I didn't know that. But he said, we'll keep an eye on her, or him, excuse me. We're not going to, if you don't want to euthanize, we understand. If you just want to keep him comfortable, we know you have to work. If you want to keep him here, pick him up, that's fine. We don't have a problem keeping an eye on him. Didn't charge me for that. Did that out of the goodness of his heart. Unfortunately, Charlie didn't make it. And I've had a few other kittens in my life that didn't make it, and I've had baby ferrets that didn't make it, and it never gets easier. Right? It does, but it doesn't.
Well, any animal that you miss is hard.
When they're older, it's not as hard for me as when they're younger, unless I've had them for a long time. And even then, you just kind of work through it. It's been the same thing with the miscarriages. We've had 3 now, and it's not easy, but it's easier to deal with. But that was having those 3 little kittens come into our life that day was just, one and then 2. I really. There's a reason they come into our life when they do. Because Rufus, we had this last miscarriage. Rufus came into our life because our friends next door, Tiffany called and said, "Hey, look, I've got a friend who wants to give a cat up." And unfortunately, Tiffany's allergic and said, "Hey, can you foster it until I can find a home for it?" Yeah, right, foster. We don't foster anything. We are permanent fosters. Okay, we just become your parent. But she called about Rufus. And Rufus, God, couldn't have been 4 or 5 weeks. And
it was about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Because he was off.
He was weaned.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was off of mama, but he wasn't very old. I mean, he wasn't 8 weeks. Excuse me. Well, there you go, because we were told it was a boy. That's why it was named Kitty was named Rufus. And we didn't argue it. We didn't change it. We didn't know until we got a little. It was only about a month ago we realized it was a girl.
Yeah.
By this point, we've been calling her Rufus or Rufy, so
that's
we just let it go.
We have a girl cat named Rufus.
But Rufus came into our life literally 2 days after we had the DNC.
No, it was that night, the night after.
Was it?
It was the night before I had it, because I couldn't eat anything, eat or drink anything. We went over there. We were there till after midnight.
Yeah.
And
okay, yeah, you're right.
That's why it was perfect timing, because.
And it,
she saved.
Yeah,
she saved us again. Just like Teddy Bear and Lily and Charlie.
I'm always sensitive to how people feel about God and where they're at religiously, but I got to be honest with you. If I offend you, sorry, but this is where I stand on it. God brought these cats into our lives, period. They provided us with healing. They've been a training ground, not just for love, but Carrie alluded earlier to that I'm an intimidating guy. I don't know if that made it to one of these videos or not. I can't remember where it was mentioned. It's been mentioned in the past, but I won't deny it. Yeah, there was a time in my life I was very, very cold, and not that I was unnice or impolite. I was very protective about my feelings, and there are times now that I can still go to that where I disconnect emotionally because it's a defense mechanism. Carrie doesn't like it. I think sometimes that's the intimidation that people see. If I'm not smiling, they assume I'm pissed off, and that's not the case. If I'm pissed off, you'll know. Trust me. Either because I'm quiet or I'm not quiet. But no, these animals. Because it's not just the cats. I've got 4 dogs out there. I've had dogs in and out of my life. But them combined with my wife have really kind of softened me up, And I know that's God's doing. And in fact, now I'm actually doing a thing Wednesday mornings with the church that I go to. We're doing a real men's ministry. And I'm not going to tell you much more about it than that, just because it's men's thing, and I don't know if women folks are watching it. I know there's one listening to me next to me, but part of our thing is that we would keep it quiet, and what gets said there stays there. So, but point being is, I love these guys. I'm enjoying the hell out of YouTube. I think this is kind of a nice release. Whether you get to see it or not, because files are corrupt or not, I do feel better about doing it. I think Carrie enjoys doing it, which is great. I love seeing that. I love seeing her open up. I love seeing her get comfortable. My timer just went off. Did we set it for 9 or 8?
8.
Okay. Well, so I'm actually going to go ahead and cut off now. Carrie, I'm willing to do another video. Keep going if you are.
That's cool.
All right. Well, let's do this. It may take a week or two for me to get this shut up, but we'll keep doing them. Hey, I'll be back in a minute.